This is J. Krishnamurti's first public talk in Ojai, California, 1973.
It's a lovely morning, and I suppose one must talk. And it seems rather a pity not to look at the mountains, the shadows, and the marvelous trees. But since we are here together, let's be a little serious. Not that when you look at the mountains, you're not serious. But this requires quite a different kind of seriousness. Because most of us are used to being entertained. Either politically, philosophically, or, if you are so inclined, religiously. But I'm afraid the quality of seriousness, which excludes every form of entertainment, amusement, and superficiality, demands that we take life seriously. And as there are many problems to talk over together, I feel that it's very important that we should, sitting under these trees and blue sky, share together the problems that confront human beings. It isn't an American problem, or European or Asiatic. It's a global problem. It's a crisis, or a great challenge, if you will, that demands right response. And when there is no adequate response to this immense challenge, then there is conflict. There is every form of entertainment, every form of degeneracy. And as we are going to deal with these problems over together, I think it is important that you should understand the speaker. He is not bringing any Oriental philosophy, thank God, no exotic ideas or a new program or religion so that to amuse you or to entertain you or make you join some kind of absurd cult. So, That's part of a modern life. So, we have to deal with actual problems. We have to deal with the problems primarily, I feel, at the psychological level. For there, and according to our understanding of ourselves, lies the clear answer to the innumerable problems. And if I may suggest, as we are sharing together, please listen. Though perhaps you belong to some kind of cult, have already committed yourself to some kind of philosophy, follow some kind of guru, or follow your own particular tendency, idiosyncrasy or pleasure. If I could this morning put aside all that and actually listen, not interpret what is being said or condemn what is being said or translate what is being said, but listen to find out. Not only listen to the speaker, but also to your own reactions to what is being said. Listen, not only verbally and the meaning of the word, but also non-verbally. For communication is verbal and non-verbal. And since we are speaking in English, the words have definite meaning. And if you don't understand the meaning of the word actually, but interpret that word according to your particular conditioning, then you will not be listening to what is being said. So communication is both verbal and non-verbal. And communication implies thinking together, not agreeing together, not accepting together a certain fact or a certain belief or certain idea, but sharing together. Sharing, thinking together, understanding together the whole problem of life is communication. So, our responsibility is, since you have taken all this trouble to come here and also have traveled a long distance, our responsibility is that we should be terribly serious, at least for an hour and a half, and together share the problems and their, if it is at all possible, their resolution. Sharing implies a certain quality of attention. You can't share something if you are not also interested, if you are not also intense. Sharing implies at all levels, not only at the psychological level, but also intellectual, emotional, almost physiological. Sharing implies a total quality of attention. Otherwise you can't. So, if we could this morning, in spite of the sirens, in spite of all the absurdities that are going on in the world in the name of religion, in the name of psychology and philosophy, if we could, as two friends, serious, fully committed to the understanding of the whole issue of life, as we said, our responsibility is not only to ourselves, but also to the society in which we live. We have created this society. And though we are entangled, caught up in the pattern of society, in its structure, we have made it. Society hasn't made us. It has shaped us because we have contributed to the whole structure. Therefore, we are responsible to society. And society is not responsible for us psychologically. So our responsibility, I'm using that word responsibility in the sense to respond rightly, totally, to the whole structure. And we cannot respond properly, truly, if we are thinking in terms of America or of a particular religion, particular philosophy, a particular sect or guru. But as human beings, responsible to the whole world, because the whole world is concerned, because we are human beings. And as we have made this world, and the world is us, and we are the world, you may accept this feeling that we are the world and the world is us intellectually, and therefore verbally, which has no meaning whatsoever. But if you actually see the reality that You are the world and the world is you. And you have made this world as it is. The brutality, the wars, the various contradictory morality, the division between religions, the nationalistic economic division, with all its conflicts, violence, and this structure, which we call society, is put together by human beings, you and I. We are responsible for it. And being responsible demands a certain maturity. Not only in age, but a maturity of mind. And to bring a radical revolution, psychologically, not merely physical revolution, throwing bombs and all the rest of that kind of stuff, cannot possibly bring about a radical change. Revolutions, physical revolutions, do not fundamentally change the human mind. They may control the mind, shape the mind, put it in a particular category, force it to conform. But such revolution, fundamentally, psychologically, doesn't bring about a totally different kind of human being. And I feel with this global challenge, we need to respond totally in a different way. And if we are at all serious, then we have to consider the problems of relationship, the problems of morality, what is love, death, and if there is something beyond the measurable, beyond the structure of thought, which man in different ways has always sought. The truth, beauty, and that thing called infinite, the nameless. Man has given to it 1,000 names. Whether any religious activity is neurotic, as some of the prominent psychologists maintain, or whether there is something not put together by the mind, not told by another. And we're going to deal with all these problems during these 4 talks. So please listen to it. With certain affection, care, because it's your problem, not mine. And when one has traveled all over the world, except behind the Iron Curtain and so on, when one has observed objectively, non-sentimentally, observed what is going on around you, in you, the activities of the politicians, of the priests, of the psychologists, the scientists, and the philosophers. One sees, if one has to be very clear, if one has to understand all this oneself, one must reject all that. Philosophy implies, doesn't it, the love of truth. That is the meaning of that word. The love of truth, not an abstraction, not an ideal, not something that you project out of your background of dissatisfaction or cunning or contrivance. But it means the love of truth in daily life. What you do, what you think, how you behave. That is philosophy. That is the love of truth. Is this all right? May I go on? You know, I have spent over 50 years talking about all this. And I feel very strongly about all this. It isn't just an intellectual amusement, either for you or for me. When one sees the wars, the children being tortured, butchered, maimed for life, the human beings, the divisions in the world, not only class divisions, but the divisions of status. One really, if one is at all sensitive, if one is at all aware one feels one must act not in any one particular direction, not along any particular philosophy or religion or guru, but totally, as a whole human being. Therefore, one must understand the word integrity and corruption. The word corruption comes from the root to break up, rompere, to to pieces. And our minds are broken up, contradictory, fragmentary. We act in the world of affairs, business, in one way, with the family another way, with our intimate friends another way, and so on. We are broken up inwardly. Therefore, that is corruption. And integrity implies a wholeness. That which is sane, whole, complete. And it is only the mind that is whole, sane, rational, logical. That can respond to this immense challenge. All right, may I go on? You're interested in what we're talking about? It's only to the serious there is life. Only to the earnest that living has meaning. But when we talk about seriousness, we translate that word according to our peculiar pleasure, to our tendency. Reaction is not seriousness, but realizing this reaction and going beyond it is to be serious. So, we have these problems. And without settling or understanding deeply these problems, merely to inquire what is reality, what is beyond the limited consciousness, or try to expand consciousness through various techniques, has no meaning whatsoever. It's an escape from reality. And that's a form of corruption. So, first, let us deal with the problem of human relationship, bearing in mind that we are sharing this together. I am not telling you what to do. I am not your guru or philosopher or your analyst. You've got plenty of them, unfortunately. On the contrary, What we are saying is that you must be a light to yourself, and therefore no authority. Except the authority of the law which you have made. And if you want to change the law, you have to change yourself first. So we're going to deal with relationship, human relationship, because that is society. Relationship means life. There is no living without relationship. Relationship means action, movement. And without understanding human relationship, the totality of it, we shall always live in conflict with each other, however intimate we may be. So that is one of the primary important things to grapple, to put our minds and heart to understand it. Please see the seriousness of it. Because without relationship, there is no life. Relationship implies action. When in that relationship there is contradiction, there is division, then there is conflict. And as our life, everyday life, in relationship is a series of conflicts between you and your closest, most intimate friend, between you and your neighbor, between you and the neighbor who may be thousands of miles away. And when there is a division, whether that division be national, religious, a division brought about by belief, a conclusion, your particular idiosyncrasy, then that division invariably will bring about not only conflict, but violence, antagonism, aggression, brutality. This is a fact, not a theory, not something invented by the speaker. Look at your own relationship with another. Look at it objectively, not sentimentally, not emotionally, but look at it very clearly. To observe it so that you see clearly not only yourself in relationship, but how in that relationship you have created an image about yourself and the image about another. Please do pay attention to this, because this is the most basic thing in life. Because if we don't have a true relationship with another, we live in isolation. Whether that isolation be intellectual, self-centered, or ideological. These are all images. And when you have an image, that very image, whether it be a verbal image or an image of imagination, a contrivance by thought, then that image divides. You have an image about your wife or your husband, your girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever it is. You have an image. And she or he has an image about you. So the relationship is between these two images, which is not a relationship at all. It is a relationship based on a conclusion, on knowledge. So, when there is knowledge as image in relationship, then there is conflict. Right? Is that clear? Can we go on from there? We are sharing this together. I'm not telling you anything. I'm only pointing out. And if you are sensitive, earnest, serious, then you have to face this problem. Whether a relationship can exist between two human beings in which there is no image at all, then only there is relationship. Otherwise there isn't any. It is a relationship based on a conclusion, on a memory, on an idea or an image. And therefore it is an abstraction. An abstraction, a thing drawn from a reality. And one lives in that abstraction of images. Right? So is it possible to live with another and therefore with society, and therefore bring totally different kind of society in which relationship is not based on conclusions, images, knowledge? You understood the problem? I hope I am making my question clear. You understand? Where there is division, as Americans and Russians, or Christians and Hindus, or Buddhists or Islam, Mohammedans, this very division is conflict. Right? You may tolerate, you may put up with something, but at the core, when there is any kind of division, as there is in the world, the national division, we the Americans, we the Russians, we the Maoists, or we belonging to some guru, the Krishna consciousness and the transcendental meditationists, all those things that are pervading this country, and you being so astonishingly gullible, swallow all this, because you want new forms of entertainment. And when one sees the division of any kind, must breed inevitably struggle, conflict, war, brutality, and all the rest of it. Then, is it possible for the mind and the heart? When we use the word mind, we are using that word totally in the sense mind, heart, psyche, the whole human being. Can the mind, in the relationship, have no image whatsoever, and therefore live a life in which there is no conflict in the relationship? That is one of the challenges, perhaps the greatest. You have images. Of that there is no doubt about it. Haven't you? If you are married, you have built an image about her and she has built an image about you. The image of 1 day or 10 years, nagging, bullying, sexual pleasures, all the things that the mind accumulates, which is knowledge about another. This knowledge is the image you have. Can one observe it? Not asking how to get rid of the image, we'll go into that in a minute, but just to be aware of these images that one has. The national image, the Christian image, and so on, the dozens and dozens of images that one has built up. Or the image you have about another, because that is more, that is near, that you can almost get at. Can you observe that image and not try to break it down or to ask the question how to be free of that image? So one has to go into this question of what it is to observe. Indeed, we have been pleased sharing this together. We are trying to investigate together. The word investigate means to trace out, to follow the thing right through and not stop in the middle when it doesn't please you to go further. So we are investigating together the same question of relationship, which is one of the most fundamental things of life. And without understanding that deeply, you cannot possibly go beyond. You may escape from it through religion, through drugs, through sex, through joining one group after another, and all that kind of nonsense that goes on. So, what is it to observe? How do you observe the image that you have about another? You have an image about the speaker, obviously. Otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here. Can you observe the image which you have about the speaker or about your wife or friend, whatever it is? Can you observe it? And we are investigating the word, the meaning of that word, to observe. How do you observe? Do you observe the image as an outsider looking at the image? Or there is no division between you as the observer and the observed, which is the image? You understand the question? I don't know, is that clear? Have I explained the question? No. I'll go into it again in a different way. When you observe that mountain or that tree or the water flowing under the bridge and the beauty of a bird on the wing and the light of the morning, how do you observe it? As an outsider looking, or there is no division between you and the thing you are seeing? When you look at that mountain, do you look at it with the image you have about that about mountains? Or do you look at it without the image or the idea or the word of a mountain? So that there is no division, a verbal division between the observer and the observed. Perhaps you can do that fairly easily with regard to mountains, trees and birds and the lovely trunk of this tree. But when it becomes a little more intimate, it becomes much more difficult. You have an image, haven't you, about your friend. How do you look at it? Do you look at it as though you're outside of it and looking at the image which you have built up? Or do you look at it non-verbally? Therefore, you and the image are one. The observer is the observed. Right? That's clear, isn't it? At least the explanation. But the explanation is not the explained. We are considering the explained, not the explanation. So can you observe the image you have built about another without another image? And so, to observe then implies that you must give your total attention or total awareness to that which you see. If you see something which you don't like or like in that image, then the like and the dislike, which are also another form of image, bring about a division. So it's very important, if one may point out, to learn the art of observation. Because in that lies the clue to observe without any conclusion. Then you will see that between you and the image, the division disappears. Therefore, you are the image. And therefore, having no division, the image ceases. Are you following all this? No, I'm afraid you're not. Too bad. Because you see, you're not used to thinking. You're not used to, I'm afraid you are used to being told what to do. Unfortunately, in this country, everything is organized. And you attend classes to learn, to be aware, to be sensitive, to how to meditate, what to do. You have been brought up on that. Christians, what to believe, what not to believe. As the Hindus, as the Muslims, as the Buddhists, they're all just second-hand human beings told what to do. And we are not telling you what to do. What we are trying to do is share together an immense problem, a problem of relationship. And where there is division, there is no love. Love isn't pleasure. Love isn't desire, which you have made it into. And that's why you pursue everything in terms of pleasure. So, it's very important to understand this question. What is relationship? Until you resolve this, not according to some philosopher or psychologist or analyst, or according to your belief or pleasure, but actually in your daily life. If you haven't resolved this problem, you are contributing to the corruption of the world. And relationship means a movement in action with another human being. Because life is relationship. And if you observe, you will see that you are, through daily life, you are isolating yourself. This isolation is self-centeredness, the tremendous concern about oneself. Aren't you concerned deeply about yourself? Whether you succeed, whether you fail, whether you are happy, unhappy, whether your desires are fulfilled, whether you are achieving enlightenment, God knows what else. And this isolation, which is the self-centeredness of yours and the self-centeredness of another, how can there be a relationship between the two? If there is no relationship between the two, and therefore inevitably there must be conflict. And our society is based on this principle of conflict, which means of having no relationship. You may sleep with another, hold hands with another, have a family, but you, self-centered, ambitious, greedy, pursuing your own fulfillment, must inevitably create a division between you and another. This is a fact. This is a psychological certainty. And a man who really is concerned to bring about a totally different kind of morality, behavior, a social structure, until he understands and brings about right relationship with another, he is contributing to the brutality, to the violence, to the extraordinary things that are going on in this ugly, mad world. Right? So we have this problem. To having created image, how to prevent the creation of further images, and what to do with the past image that one has. You see the problem? Do you, sirs? No? Look, I have an image about you. I haven't, but I suppose. I have an image about you. I have built it up through my interaction with you. There are those images in my mind. And I realize that to be really related with another, there must be no image. Now, how am I to be free of those images? That's one point. The second is, how am I not to create images at all in relationship? Whatever you do. You understand the two? How am I not to create images? Whatever you do. Whether you call me a fool, flatter me, steal things from me, insult me, hurt me, not to have an image. That is, how am I not to be hurt by you? Right? Let's bring down to that simple thing. Because the hurt is the building of image, as flattery is also building of image. From childhood We have been hurt. This hurt takes the form of competition. When you are being compared with another, that happens in schools and families, the hurt has begun. Right? Society hurts us. Parents hurt you. Your friends hurt you. And war, that's another, hurts you psychologically, inwardly. We are human beings who are terribly hurt. We may shed tears quietly by ourselves in our rooms, or because we are hurt, we become violent, aggressive, self-protective, defensive, and all the rest of it. So, how is a mind not to be hurt at all? There are two problems: having been hurt and never to be hurt again. Are you following all this? Are we sharing together? Please share it. Not agree. What? I told you, that's understood. Share together. How is a mind never to be hurt? Having been hurt, how is a mind to be free of all hurts? You're following this? See this sequence of being hurt. Violence, aggression, bitterness, resistance, isolation, all kinds of neurotic activities. Because the mind is terribly hurt, of which you may be conscious or unconscious. If you can find out for yourself, not because somebody points it out, if you can find it out for yourself, whether the mind, that is the total being, can never be hurt, then you will see that you have wiped away all the past images, past hurts. So the question is, how can the mind, your mind, never to be hurt at all? I've got the question. You tell me I'm a fool, or you tell me I'm a great man, which are both the same. And I listen to you. The one I like, the other I don't like. Can I listen to you? Please listen to this. Can I listen to you when you call me a fool or a great man with total attention, so that there is no reaction to your verbal statement? Can you listen to your wife or to your friend with total attention when she or he calls you all kinds of things or flatters you? In that total attention, in that choiceless awareness, there are no frontiers, there are no borders. It is only when there is a border, when there is a line, that the mind gets hurt. You get it? When there is no border as the center which is being hurt, then there is no question of being hurt at all. You understand this or no? No. All right, let me go put it in a different way. What is it that is being hurt? The image that you have about yourself, that image is getting hurt, isn't it? When you call me a fool, I have an image that I'm not a fool. And I have this conclusion that I'm not a fool, and therefore when you call me that, I get hurt. I get disturbed. That is, please listen to this. When there is no image as the me, which means the me, the self, is not, because there is no image of me, then whatever you say, either pleasant or unpleasant, is not a response, does not meet the response of being hurt. You understand? It is the center as the me that gets hurt. Now, can the mind listen with tremendous attention, care, love, listen when you say something pleasant or unpleasant? What gets hurt is the resistance which you have. If you have no resistance, there is no hurt. You understand? This is terribly important in the relationship. One has lived 70 years or 50 years or 10 years. Things happen. Incidents take place. Uninvited occurrence takes place. And to have a mind that walks through all this without a single hurt, that is real innocence. The word innocent means a mind that is not capable of being hurt. The real meaning of that word in the dictionary is a mind that is not capable of being hurt. And it will be hurt if there is an image as Krishnamurti or Mr. Smith or Mr. Y. That image puts a limit, a border, a line which you cannot cross. The moment you cross, I get hurt. So in relationship, to live a life, daily life, every moment of it, not just once a week, but every day, in relationship in which there is not a single image. If you can do this, really, not intellectually or verbally or emotionally, actually do it, you will bring about a totally different kind of human being. Therefore, a different kind of society. And such a relationship is love. But that word has been so abused, which we'll go into it perhaps in all these meetings or gatherings that we have. Now, it's past 12. Perhaps you care to ask questions and talk things over.
Doesn't having no images also mean that you have no objectives? Isn't an objective an image?
So we are talking about relationship, not objective. If you make an objective of having a right relationship, listen to this. If you make an objective, a purpose in life of having the right relationship, that purpose, that decision to have a right relationship is going to bring about division. Isn't it? You understand? If I have a purpose, an intention, a determination that I must have a good relationship, right relationship with you, then that is a conclusion. That's an image I have. I have replaced the old image by a new image. And therefore that image is going to bring about a division and therefore conflict. You understand this?
Is it what you're saying that when you put a goal on something that you're restricting yourself?
Pardon?
When you make a goal for yourself, like when you put an end to your actions.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
Well, what about like the acquisition of knowledge? Like what about wanting to learn to become something, like a
Wait,
musician or a teacher or something?
Question is, what is knowledge in order to become something? Now wait a minute. Go into this very carefully. Let's go into it. I acquire through study, through college and all the rest of it, certain knowledge in order to function efficiently. Right? Knowledge is necessary to function efficiently. I must know how to ride a bicycle in order to go on it properly. I must know how to drive a car. I must know how to put mechanical things together. Knowledge is necessary to function efficiently. Then what takes place? To function efficiently is rather tiring, boring. I become mechanical. Therefore, I seek through function status. Right? Don't you? So, through function, you create a status. So status becomes far more important than function. To you, the governor, the minister, or somebody who top, you respect because of status, not because of function. So there is a division. See what has taken place. Very interesting. There is a division created when you seek status through function. And therefore function becomes less efficient. And knowledge, which is the accumulation of information, accumulation of experience, accumulation of information, a mechanical process, a computerization of certain parts of the brain, is necessary to live in this world, to function. After all, I've learned English, perhaps also one or two other languages. I've learned English, and I use it to convey certain feelings, certain thoughts, point out certain things. Now, that knowledge the mind can use to acquire a status. Because I talk to a great many people, audience, write books and all that business that goes on. And that function can be translated into status. Then begins the conflict, because the division between function and status. Then status becomes all important. So when the mind is pursuing through knowledge status, then relationship is based on status, not on function. And therefore, one gets very easily mechanical. When status becomes all important, function becomes mechanical. You get bored. It's meaningless to go to do things day after day, the routine, all that. So the mind getting bored, having no meaning to all that, seeks a status and introduces the factor of conflict. I hope you're following all this. So can the mind function? And it is necessary to function with efficiency, with knowledge, with accuracy, without having status. And therefore, doing something that human beings love, want to do, not pushed to do. Oh, I don't know if you follow all this. Yes, sir. Just a minute, sir. Just a minute, sir.
Before you, sir. There's a question before you.
Krishnamurti, a gentleman said to you, "You love us." I objected. How does he know?
All right.
The image.
Yes, wait a minute. I understand. A gentleman said, "You love us." And the questioner says, how does he know? Is that not an image? Is it an image? Just don't say yes or no. Let's find out. Look, if the speaker is exploiting you, and that's very easy, then the speaker is projecting an image on you. But if the speaker is not encouraging any form of adoration, any form of obedience, any form of following and all that business, then the speaker is saying something which you can share. It's yours. And something that's yours and mine can only take place when there is affection, love, all that. You can't share something with somebody intellectually. Can you? You can't share a description, can you? You can only share something which is the described, not the description. And the gentleman may feel that there is an affection. All right, what's wrong with it? Yes, sir.
If you go into this question of status, which is more or less the fear of being nothing, we go into this nothingness that we frighten us, and the society says we should be somebody.
That's right. Is it fear that makes us be somebody, when society is telling us be somebody? That is the question. Most of us want to be somebody, don't we? Now, how does this happen? Let's look into it. Can you live without comparison? You understand my question? Never, never to compare yourself with another. In your looks, in your dress, in your school, you follow? All our education is based on comparing ourselves with somebody. With a hero, with a savior, with a guru, with somebody who knows much more than you do. Always compare. Now, I know through comparison that I am dull when I compare myself with you who are very clever. Everybody says you're awfully clever, bright, brilliant chap he is, good athlete, and all that business goes on. And I compare myself with you. And I say, through comparison, I say how terribly dull I am. And saying to myself I am dull, I strive not to be dull. I fight, I struggle, but I'm still dull. Because I've compared myself with you who are always clever. So can I look at you, try to find out how to live without a single comparison? You understand what it means? Never to measure yourself against another. Then are you dull? Then you will say, I am what I am. Then you can say, what are you? You follow? Because I have compared myself with you, I have never put that question to myself, what does it mean to live without comparison? Physically, psychologically, in any way. What does it mean? Does it mean that I am what I am and that's good enough? Or because I have never compared myself with another, there is no inferiority or superiority. There is no trying to be something. Then only I can put the question, what am I? You understand? What am I? A lot of reactions, verbal images, a conditioned mind that responds either irrationally, rationally, tendency, characteristic, idiosyncrasy. I'm all that. And what is all that? Just a lot of words and images, isn't it? So can the mind live without a single image? You'll find out if you want to go into it seriously. Yes, sir.
Yes, Krishnamurti. What are you? Seems you are, I said before, a silly old fool. Talking to us, assorted other fools, trying to communicate. On April Fool's Day, I was sad, and I said, what a fool I was. I didn't know it. I was sad. What a fool I am. I know it, and I'm glad. I would like to ask you a very foolish question about seriousness. The question that comes to me is, who is serious? Who else is there? I sort of see it, I would like to share it with you. Who is it but the me? The center, the self-center, the ambition, which is serious, which I understand what you mean in a sense by giving one's attention when seeing the clearness of the sky and the brightness of the sun. But I think we take ourselves too seriously. That is the ego's nature. That is me being serious, trying to see the truth.
Yes, sir. What is the
virtue, pursuing pleasure seriously.
Sir,
and if
what is it?
I would say what we need is a cosmic comedian to laugh at ourselves, because humor is awareness, not being stuck in one point of view as the me, but to be able to see what I am.
Sir, would you mind, may I ask, sir, are you saying that we take ourselves seriously because we are so self-concerned about ourselves? The me is, when we become serious, our seriousness is self-concern. What am I? How am I to get further? More money? So this whole self-centered concern. And in that, I'm afraid we are terribly serious. But surely, we are talking of a different kind of seriousness. A seriousness that is concerned not only with the me, but also with the whole human being, with the whole global problems. The wars, the brutalities, the violence, the insanity, the irrationality, the whole of life. Not just one, me and my concern. We're going to discuss this tomorrow morning in a different way.